Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So glad to be here in the classroom, especially in the conference room at IPSI. And it's my great pleasure to open the 2025 edition of Lina bin Mhenni Award for Gender and Intersectional Justice. We are honored to gather today, both here at IPSI, University of Manouba in the conference room, and online via WebEx, to celebrate academic excellence, creativity, and critical engagement with issues of gender justice and social transformation. This award carries the name and spirit of Lina bin Mhenni and the symbol of the courage, resistance, and enduring commitment to human dignity. Today, we honor her legacy by recognizing young scholars and filmmakers whose work challenge inequality and shed light on science narratives across our region. First of all, I want to congratulate all the participants in this wonderful competition, and I want to welcome the IPSI students here in the room today to participate during this ceremony. I want to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Subay Burjab, and I'm assistant professor at IPSI and special moderator, a little bit moderator for this ceremony, a hybrid ceremony. And I want to thank Dr. Hamid Albour for her trust. And I want to thank everyone here, Dr. Carola Richter and Katerina, to follow all the details during the last week. I want also to greet all the person here in the screen that are joining our ceremony via the WebEx. So, and I'm so glad to have here Madam Amna bin Ghorbel, the Lina bin Mhenni mother, and Sir Hashmi bin Fraj, the president of the Association of Lina bin Mhenni. So we are so glad to receive them in our conference room today at IPSI. Just a few claps for them. And a few words from our guest, Madam Amna.
مرحبا، شكرا لجميع الأساتذة وطلبة. أنا سعيدة جدا بوجودي بينكم في الإعلان عن جائزة لينا مهني. هذه الجائزة لها قيمة كبيرة لأنها تعرف بنضالات لينا، خاصة بالنسبة للطلبة والشباب ليواصلوا على طريقها. وأهنئ كل الفائزين بهذه الجائزة وشكرا لكم جميعا.
And Sir Hashmi, few words for the ceremony.
Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Je suis très honoré d'être présent à cette cérémonie de remise du prix Lina bin Mhenni, que je connais déjà tout petit, que j'ai accompagné dans tous ces combats, et très honoré aussi d'être présent parmi ces illustres professeurs. Et bienvenue aux jeunes lauréats.
Merci. Thank you very much for our guests. They were so glad to be here and to join the ceremony team, and they want to congratulate all the participants here for the ceremony and all the winners also. Later we will mention their names. And now we will move to the welcome speeches, and to open the ceremony we will begin with a series of welcome discourse. Each speaker will share a brief message to frame our ceremony and reaffirm the importance of this award. First with Dr. Yassine Turki from the Lina bin Mhenni Association in Tunis. And I want to say that Dr. Yassine Turki was the previous or the former president of the association, and now he's among the team of this association, and the microphone is yours now. It's open to you.
Thank you very much, Sumaya. Thank you for all the presents today. Even if Lina and Hashmi said it also, just 2 words to thank you again. So I'm here for the 4th time, I think, always with a lot of emotions and great pleasure. So I'm the third person here who presents the association Lina Mhenni, composed by the family, relatives, friends, and comrades of Lina, who are trying to continue her path. So I'm also very grateful to Area Core, the members of the jury, IPSI, you, Sumaya, and all the participants in the competition for their efforts to maintain and continue these awards, especially in a global context that is not always supportive of human rights, gender rights, and freedom of speech and expression. Lina, who left us far too early, had drawn a path that broke the boundaries between the fields, the different fields of activism and commitment. And we believe in the association Lina Mhenni that this competition and this award reflect this vision. Academic rigor, which we all defend, is not incompatible with engagement for rights. On the contrary, academic work, especially the one produced by young people, helps us better understand reality through the eyes of new generations. So congratulations to all the winners, and thank you again for this collective commitment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yassine Turki. Now with our wonderful colleague and professor, Dr. Carola Richter, who's presenting the article at Freie Universität Berlin. Dr. Carola, nice to meet you again, even virtually, and the open is yours now.
Thank you so much, Sumaya, for having us today, for welcoming us at the IPSI. I'm so glad that I think it's the fifth time in a row that we are presenting this award, and the IPSI and also the Association Lina Mhenni. You are so wonderful partners to do that. Thank you so much. So I'm speaking on behalf of Area Core, which is the Arab European Association for Media and Communication Researchers, and we are now in our 12th year actually. So 2013 we started our activities, and besides the IPSI and Freie Universität, we also have other members. Of course, we have universities stretching all around the Arab world. So our members are from Morocco, from Egypt, from Qatar, from Iraq, from Jordan, from Palestine, from Lebanon, of course, and also from Oman. So we have so many wonderful opportunities to reach out to students, to professors, and talk among us and train them. And there are also some more affiliated individual members around Europe and in other parts of the Arab world. So what we did besides the Lina Mhenni Prize is that we are offering a lot of summer schools or winter schools, where we actually also produced a lot of interesting media content, critical films on migration, for example, or on media and conflict. We are having workshops running. For example, next week, some of us will be in Iraq, in Baghdad, in our partner university, Al-Iraqiyya University, and we are going to talk about media literacy curricula there. And we also have conferences, including some publications that are being presented. So I highly encourage you to stay part of the Area Core network, to also check out our website for a lot of material that is covering all kinds of aspects related to media and communication and journalism in Arab countries and beyond. And I think it's a great resource, also including the films that have been produced by the Area Core members, and of course also those films that are being part of the ceremony today. You can watch them through the Area Core website and the social media channels that you will see. So I hope this will be, or I know already, because I already watched some of the presentations today. So this will be an excellent, event today with an excellent choice of awardees, and I would like to thank you at the IPSI very much for hosting that. And I think next in line is then one of our former area core members who pushed very hard to make this event or make this award part of the area core network. And yes, Anna Antonakis is probably next in line. I hand over to you, Sumaya, again. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Dr. Carola Richter, for this speech. I congratulate you also for this ceremony and for the edition too, because ARIACOR trying all the time to do its best to make this ceremony better year by year. So now we'll move to an overview and war background with Dr. Anna Antonakis that will present an introduction to gender and intersectional justice, followed by a concise history of the Lina bin Mhenni Award, its vision, evolution, and impact over the past 5 editions. So Anna, hello, and nice to meet you again, even virtually.
Thank you. Yeah, Aishik, Sumaya. My greetings go out to the IPSI, to Lina bin Mhenni's family. It's wonderful to see you there, even from afar. I also take a moment to thank and think of Sadok bin Mhenni, who was Lina's father, who supported also this award, who was with us in some of the editions. So thank you again. It's amazing that we are still creating this space. And yeah, thank you. I will have the honor to say a few words, but I will keep it very brief. So I was lucky to get to know Lina herself right after the uprisings in Tunisia 2010-2011. And also hear her analysis on the following transformation, political, economic, social transformation in Tunisia. She also supported me in my research on the renegotiation of gender and the state in Tunisia. With her passing 2020, we wanted to create something that would last. And also, as you and my colleagues already said, this award is a way to keep her heritage and also her spirit alive, and to pass it on to a younger generation of engaged and excellent scholars. Lina was not only an activist during the Arab Spring, so-called Arab Spring, and an advocate of women's rights. Her activism also reflected a commitment to intersectional justice in her role during 2010-2011 uprisings in Tunisia, but also like regionally and in general, her fight for transitional and inclusive justice. And Carola also presented the network, the area core network, and I think networking is also something that is very important when we think, or when I think about Lina and also her heritage, what we learned from her. In German, she published a book, Vernetzt euch, Create Networks. So I think this is also very important with regards to the spirit of the award of her, but also with regards to what we are doing, using networks to express solidarities. Lina used it also to express solidarity with marginalized people, with poor people, with people in the prisons, where she brought books on, always also with the Palestinians. And as Carola said, at Area Core, we're a network of scholars reaching out also, but also being engaged with other parts of the society. That's why the partners, we work with partners, with media houses, the Lina bin Mhenni Foundation, etc. And I'm also speaking of networks and taking strength also in being together, creating a community, I want to express a big thank you to my colleagues from the committee that we are meeting now. Yeah, also now it's the 5th time, I'm sorry, or the 4th time. I cannot really count very well. So the 5th time already. So, and I'm taking the time to also mention you. So some of you are with us today, some of you can't, also for personal reasons, for political reasons. Dr. Inas Abu Youssef from Cairo. There is Dr. Hamida Al-Bour, who's not with us today, but Sumaya, I think, thank you so much for taking over also and at IPSI and also organizing this hybrid conference. Faten Ben Laga from the University in Oman, Ken Saumir, my esteemed colleague from Al Hawain University in Morocco, Saleh Masharke from Birzeit University in Palestine, and of course Sami Yasin Turki, who's also now part of the committee. So, yeah, I was also asked to say a few words around the name of intersectional justice. I think it is clear why it makes sense that all of us come together around in honor of Lina. But we also discussed in that committee the name of intersectional justice, intersectionality, gender. What should we call it, right? So understanding gender in its intersectional dimension means that gender is not the only analytical instrument to analyze oppression and inequality alone. It also includes other structures of inequality, such as class, race, locality, nationality, citizenship, religion, etc. And Professor Patricia Hill Collins frames it as matrix of domination that varies and must be analyzed always in specific contexts, with the small context, the country context, the regional context, also reflecting the broader global structures of inequality manifested in patriarchy, racism, and classism. According to Professor Patricia Hill Collins, who's a sociologist, actually, the matrix of domination contains two elements. It has a particular arrangement of intersecting systems of oppression, as mentioned, race, social class, gender, sexuality, citizenship status, ethnicity, and age also, and also a particular organization of its domains of power. That means, and she distinguishes 4 dimensions of power, which is the structural, the disciplinary, the hegemonic, and the interpersonal. And according to Collins, media are part of a regulatory, is part of regulating intersecting oppressions and can be counted among the domain of hegemonic power. And I think this is also what we and also the awardees in the past have used in their work. In that regard, also coming to the media landscape, Lina Ben Mhenni always advocated for independent, pluralist media that center human rights. So let me come back then now to the here and now, and yeah, hand over back to Sumaya, because this is where we can actually come to the part of the ceremony where we're introducing the new awardees. And I will just share also in the chat, because I was so amazed looking at the Professor Carola mentioned the website, but again, it's wonderful to see the community. We spoke of community and networks of laureate growing. So also the new scholars, the younger scholars who are now in the virtual room, please take the chance, go there, maybe reach out, you know, so because I think that's also a very beautiful job that is being done from the side of the Freie Universität Berlin to give us this platform and give you this platform as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. It was a wonderful speech, actually. Thank you for your commitment also in this ceremony. And now we arrive to the heart of this ceremony, actually, the announcement of this year laureates. So the award presentation will be led by the members of the evaluation committee, Dr. Anna Antonakis, Dr. Ines Abu Yusuf from Egypt, and Dr. Kinza Melil from Morocco. Welcome to the ceremony, and we are so glad to see you and to meet you even virtually today. And I want to have maybe some suspense in this part so the public will react and to make a surprise atmosphere in the conference room at IPSI now, because we're going to mention the names of of the winners. Okay, so the best BIA capstone project, Lina bin Mhenni award goes to Yasmina Zain from Lebanese American University of Beirut. So this project will be presented by Dr. Anna Antonakis, then followed by Yasmina Zain's speech. Congratulations again, Yasmina.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I'm taking the word again. I will keep it very brief. Congratulations, Mabruk, Yasmina Zain. This is it's amazing. We were very happy to receive your BA thesis. I will briefly say a few words around that. So Yasmin handed in her thesis with the title Coverage of the 2019 Lebanese Protests, a Political Economy Approach to Hegemonic Media. It was submitted at the Department of Communication, Mobility and Identity at the LAU Beirut. And her supervisor is Dr. Daniel Jejic, which I was also happy to read because that's also a very esteemed colleague. So Yasmin's research paper examines the media coverage of the October 2019 mass protests that took place in Lebanon after the announcement of an alleged WhatsApp tax of $6. I'm sure a lot of you also still have that in mind, and maybe also the images and pictures. So using a political economy framework, the work examines ownership structures, ideological influences, and discourse in news coverage to better understand how television media, this is what Yasmin Zain focuses on, shaped public perception of the uprisings in 2019 in Lebanon. The data was collected from YouTube and compiled into a downloaded archive consisting of almost 150 hours of footage from October 2019 to February 2020, when the protests were most active. She discusses her findings among the categories of the featuring of political party guest speakers, so who's speaking, on the news content that she analyzed, the frequency of location coverage, and framing and discourse. So let me just say a few words why we decided at the committee to give the award to this BA thesis. It is obviously a very, very good fit to the Lina bin Mhenni Award. This is exactly the kind of research that I think that we also want to encourage, we want to give visibility to. So I was also, so it was also a well-structured thesis with a very solid methodology and presenting relevant findings. I was also impressed, and colleagues were impressed by the literature review, the very good description of the Lebanese media landscape, the gaps that were in literature identified were well described and presented concisely. The method was very clear and also very important in our work. The limitations were spelled out. So meaning what material can actually be accessed, etc. So there were a minor remark regards the political economy framework and how it translated or how it could be used more to interpret the data. But this being only a BA thesis, we were very, very impressed, and what the remarks that we have is really on a very high level with regards to that. So Yasmin, we see that this is a hopefully also for you a great start, or like a good encouragement to continue your career, your academic curiosity. And now I'm more than happy to hand over to you to say a few words.
Thank you everyone so much. Thank you, Dr. Antonakis, for all your kind words and your feedback. I will now just try to go over my my BA thesis very quickly in 5 minutes, so I don't take time from everyone. So it's a great honor, obviously, today to represent my capstone project. I chose this topic because the 2019 protests are very dear to me. I was only 16 when they happened, and I was full of hope that the country that I've lived in for my entire life was finally going to change for the better. Let me just, yes, I think now you can see the presentation. So across the Middle East and North Africa, media systems operate within a very complex political and economic structure. These dynamics influence what stories are amplified, which voices are marginalized, and how people engaged with large-scale political events. And unfortunately, what started in Lebanon as a movement for a better country ended up being an opportunity to advance Orientalist agendas into the country. My project situates itself within this broader context, examining how Lebanese mainstream broadcasters covered the protests and how ownership structures, political affiliations shape the narratives presented to the public. This work was completed as a capstone project in my undergraduate studies, so I wrote the paper, but currently my professors, Dr. Daniel Egic and Dr. Gretchen King, alongside postdoctoral fellow Dr. Shahad Abu Salama, are developing it for publication to a journal, to an academic journal. So there's this update. Through this research, I hope to continue my ongoing discussions about the political economy of the media and the possibilities for more pluralistic and accountable communication systems in the country. So thank you again for this opportunity. I'm honored, I'm humbled, and I look forward to sharing my findings and engaging with everyone in the presentation. So just to give you a very brief context about the 2019 protests, they started on October 17, 2019. They were initially triggered by the government's decision to impose a $6 tax on WhatsApp, which is very widely used in Lebanon, and I think several protests, first of all in Beirut, then the next morning they spread to almost the entirety of Lebanon's Gazas. One thing here is that while Lebanon is obviously very politicized, it's also a very sectarian country, and after the civil war and during the early 2000s, two coalitions emerged, the March 8 and the March 14 political coalitions. This is important to understand because we later on, during the developed version, we made this distinction between media that were affiliated with the March 8 coalition and the media that were affiliated with the March 14 coalition. One of those coalitions are actually composed of members that have a history of collaborating with Israel and very right-wing views. The others are the opposite of that, basically. It's made up of several political parties in the country, but for the purpose of time, I will not be delving into that a lot. The landscape in Lebanon is characterized by a very high level of political parallelism, but it's also a very pluralistic landscape, but that doesn't necessarily translate into more freedoms, which is why I'll explain this later. So the mainstream media, it was really the first protest of this kind. It covered more than 8 hours of protests ongoing during the day. Reporters were in the streets with the protesters, asking them, actively engaging with these protesters, which is not something we usually see in many countries, which is what makes the 2019 protests, at least for me, very interesting to study from a media perspective. So just to go over the literature review very quickly, we talked about how sectarian partisanship is emphasized in most media studies surrounding Lebanon. So all research a state with many sectarian divisions, and the media obviously follows that. But this is not necessarily the framework we want to adopt, which is where we've come here and used political economy to really address this gap in the literature. This framework of sectarian media and that the media is owned by certain sects and certain political parties leads to identity politics. This is why we've looked at it from a different framework, which is political economy again. So this framework is limiting, and the impact of colonial and imperial influences on the media remains very marginal in research. So we try to these ownership patterns translate themselves in our findings. In Lebanon, political parties either directly own the media or through different people who are aligned with or like have some sort of influence or control over these media through third parties or businesses or some people that own these media. The banking sector also exerts a great influence on private media. Maybe you've heard recently, but I don't think so, but maybe that we've had a lot of scandals in Lebanon about very rich bankers investing in media and using it to promote themselves. So yeah, that's also a very important point to keep in mind for the findings. My research question was, how does the political economy of the Lebanese media structure the frames and the narratives found in the coverage of the 2019-2020 protests? Okay, we used a grounded theory approach to data collection. We were 2 research assistants working on that. I was one of those. We coded about more than 100, I think, more than 100 hours of footage between October 17 and February 29, 2020. So that's about 4 months of protests. We had mostly coverage from MTV. That was that's a Lebanese TV network. That was the most available to us on YouTube because this is where we collected our data. We also had footage from Al Jadid and from IPSI, but much less than MTV and Al Jadid. We used a grounded theory approach. Basically, we analyzed the data and used what the data told us in order to analyze our findings through political economy. So our key findings were that the guests on the TV channels were largely politicized. So the TV channels would often host guests, political commentators, journalists to comment on the situation. But these people would often be in line with the editorial direction or the political direction of the TV itself, which we analyzed through political economy as a pattern, as an influence on editorial decision by ownership structures. Some regions in Lebanon were being covered more than others, despite activity being documented by third parties. So we also revisited maps of the protests during 2019, and we also found that some regions were much more covered. So for example, Beirut was very covered, Tripoli was very covered, Saida was very covered, but other areas like in the suburbs of Beirut, like in the south, like in the Bekaa, were not as covered by mainstream media. Which raised again more questions about why are these media choosing to omit certain regions and then cover other regions. So the framing and discourse was mostly opposed to the political parties that were in power at the time, the FPM and Hezbollah, and many TV channels were usually advancing Western discourse in their commentaries, which we found was very odd because it's a national movement. Why would you try to advance Western and foreign ideas? That's for the findings. So for the discussions, that ownership structures and the TV partisanship influenced editorial decisions. Coverage of certain regions may have been influenced by the partisanship of this region. So if a certain region was very affiliated to a certain political party that was opposing to the political parties in power, they tended to cover that more. We definitely need more mapping of the protests, where these protests happened, in order to understand how and why and when were these what was basically the protest covered in mainstream media and when it was not. And finally, we concluded with a need for additional research on media instrumentalization, so how governments or political parties use media, and the political economy of media in Lebanon are definitely needed for future research. So I've tried to keep it as brief as possible. Thank you so much. Please reach out to me for any feedback. Thank you. This is my email,
Thank
so in case you
you,
have any
Yasmina
feedback, really.
Zain. Congratulations for this award. And now we will move to the next award. So the Lina bin Mhenni award for the best film project goes to... No, it's very weak. Goes to the film called Jafra, and from the team of Ahram Canadian University. So the director of the film, Ahmed Ayman, script, Heidi Khalid, cinematography, Khalid Atif, production, Farah bin Atiyah, graphics, Shahd Muhammad, and editing, Yusuf Sabri. Congratulations again. And now we will receive our colleague, Dr. Kenza Omali, to present the project. Kenza.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations. Hello. Hi, congratulations.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to see you. So congratulations to this team from Ahram Canadian University. This was a great film. It tells the story. It's a drama documentary film that addresses the impact of the psychological trauma of Palestinian children. It's in Arabic with the English subtitles, and the committee thought that the work was excellent overall. The documentary bravely and creatively addresses the important topic of the destructive consequences of the Israeli war on Gaza from the powerful vantage point of children's traumatic experiences. It includes expert interviews, music, testimonials, and graphic images to deliver the message. And it tells the story of a Palestinian family that fled to Egypt because of the war. The film addresses displacement, children's hobbies, and the psychological effects of war all at once. The committee thought that the film did a great job at representing gendered perspectives, and the focus on kids, on the children's hopes, on their fears and doubts was well highlighted through the dialogue and the images. So I think we will have now some winners' speeches to present this film. So congratulations again on making this very important film.
So we have now Khalid, Heidi Khalid, to present the team and the project. A few words. One of the team here.
I think Ahmed's going to speak, right?
Okay, Ahmed. Congratulations again.
You have to unmute yourself. You're still muted. Ahmed, we can't hear you yet. You have to unmute yourself.
No, we cannot receive his voice.
Somehow there should be like a... yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now it's working. Perfect.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to welcome you all. I am Ahmed Ayman, the director of the Jafra movie. I want a film about, but from the more positive angle, showing how the children, despite their young age, are able to overcome what they have been through. At the first, it was difficult to find children who could speak or appear on the camera, but Dr. Sami helped me a lot, and I thank him greatly. I spoke with the children several times until they felt comfortable enough to share their stories, as you saw. They ended up dealing with the camera very naturally, which was a wonderful surprise. I want to thank everyone who helped to bring this film to this photo, the crew, the families, the children, Dr. Huda Shazli, Dr. Ines Abu Yusuf, and everyone who supported us, especially my family. And I'm really happy to be with you today. Thank you for all, and I hope you enjoyed the film. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for this speech. So let's move to the next award. Where is the public? Okay, let's move to the next award. So the Lina bin Mhenni Award for the best MI thesis goes to... So goes to Sarah Al-Sabay from Cairo University. Congratulations, Sarah. And this thesis will be presented by Dr. Inas Abu Yusuf from Cairo. Dr. Inas,
Hi,
how are
Sumaya.
you?
How you doing?
Hi, nice
Very
to
nice.
receive your voice.
Okay, very nice to see you guys all, even virtually. And I'm very happy actually to introduce Sarah's work. I did really love the work. It's absent yet present, present yet absent. It's renegotiating fatherhood in our economy in Egypt, and the case study of father holding multiple jobs in southern Cairo, Egypt. Actually, this is a very nice research because it is creative, it's critical, it's challenging the stereotype of Arab men. It critiques the dominant Western narrative portraying Arab men as violent, showing instead them as caregiving, and especially highlighting this was highlighted within the Gaza genocide, and this was one of the aspirations that this researchers decided to negotiate fatherhood in Egypt as well. I also liked the topic of the research because it is really bridging the gap about gender and developing approaches, because we are used to be only working on women, and this is the global equity really, because we are not excluding men in this research. It's actually about fatherhood. It's a qualitative 10 in-depth open-ended interviews with middle-class fathers working extra job in Egypt, and accordingly she had made her a very strong theoretical framework, which is a social constructive gender theory, critical masculinity theory, and intersectionality as well. Also, her literature review was very solid. She talked about fatherhood from different historical perspective, and even beginning from the Ottoman until the 70s and the 80s. The in-depth interviews gave a very good, deep, in-depth insight considering that kind of research. And actually, she had depended on a very nice model, which is the mental, emotional, social, physical labor. And she was examining to what extent fatherhood from these four dimensions. It's not only that fatherhood is only for paying money or taking the financial part only. And through the main finding and discussions, she found that a new fatherhood in a transformative experience, they had really experienced major personal changing, and they are now having priorities to their children, becoming more financially responsible, but as well growing emotionally sensitive. And they wanted to control their temper, takes positive side with their children, and that fatherhood in Egypt is a very complex experience shaped by both traditional expectation, pressures of economy pressure as well. But on the other hand, actually, she found that from the mental labor point of view, fatherhood really were working on financial planning, social budgeting, and so on. From the emotional point of view, that some of them are fearing that they cannot have much time, or they don't have much time for their kids emotionally, and that's why they are trying to devote more, considering that kind of emotional aspect. Socially, they are feeling that this is the responsibility to maintain ties with their kids, and social networking. Of course, physical labor, they work in commutes, they do shopping, they do physical planning with their kids as well. This is a very, I think this is a very touching and new, as I said, new, creative and critical qualitative research. And I really congratulate Sarah, and I wish her very good luck in her future. And probably we are going, I think where we should be inviting her in Ahram Canadian University to give a speech about her work, because this is very important work. Thank you very much. And I'll give now the floor to Sarah to present her work. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ines, for your very, very kind and encouraging words. And it would be my honor to join you anytime. I first like to take a moment for Lina, or البنية التونسية as we know her in Egypt. That in my generation, I also was part of the 2011 revolutions. Let's just honor her legacy of speaking one's own truth fearlessly, because if there's anything that intersects my research with her legacy, it would be that I was very afraid when I began working on this topic, because I didn't want to be the feminist who centered men. It was scary. I was scared of the critique that I would get from like fellow feminists. And I'm also a single mother struggling. So I didn't want critique from single moms who would be like, why are you talking about fathers? Talk about us. But I think that in my journey to understand more about myself as a mother, I needed to understand the other side. And without it, I couldn't fully understand my journey. When it comes to, as Professor Ines said, Gaza in particular, it was a great influence on me to see how Palestinian men are tender, are caring, how they deal with children amidst like immense trauma. And even if those children are not their own, even if they're just orphans, and men are just it goes like a common saying that they're heartless here, but that's actually not true, and it was captured repeatedly on video. What I wanted to do with this research is address a gap where men were looked up, or fathers in particular were looked upon, and I'm gonna start sharing my screen because I forgot, were looked upon only from a perspective of a breadwinner or authority figure, which is I also understand that these are main roles that Egyptian fathers carry. Yet it just doesn't stop there. And if you're not familiar with the economic conditions in Egypt, we're currently have undergone repeated devaluations, and this has led us to struggle a lot, and most middle-class families resorted to finding or each member holding multiple jobs, especially the fathers. And this, if with all the awareness in the world towards father having more caregiving roles, if they're holding more than one job, how could they actually do it? And I wanted to understand from fathers their lived experience, how they felt about this, and how how they juggled to be present in their children's life if they wanted to be. So my main research objective was to I wanted to problematize fatherhood in Egypt and maybe later, inshallah, the whole region or the global south. And I wanted to see how fathers felt about their fatherhood. I wanted to understand emotions. I wanted to put emotions in the table together with men. And Sarah Ahmed's work helped a lot in the sense that emotions are relational, so or socially circular, so we feel them in relation to others. They're not just internal, and this was clear when it came to the fathers. My methodology relied on qualitative interviews. They were first semi-structured, but then, to be honest, I changed to open-ended interviews because when I laid out the semi-structured interviews, I expected the fathers, my interlocutors, to be more resistant. And it was me being subjected to the stereotype and internalizing it, but they were actually open to talk and willing to talk, and some of them even expressed gratitude that بتوع المرأة or feminists are gaining an interest in men and what's happening in their realm. I also, while tracing the history of fatherhood and how it changed in Egypt and the major events that impacted fatherhood, I came to the point where I addressed Sadat's era and the open door economy and the mass migrations to the Gulf, or الغربة, the estrangement of Egyptian men who went to make more money and build a better life for their families who stayed here. I am the daughter of one of those fathers. And so I relied on my personal archive of letters between my father, my late father, and my late mother. May Allah grant them peace. And I reflected on how keen he was on being involved in our lives, me and my brothers, even though he was not present. He was actually present despite being absent. And I think this is not a case that is particular to me. I think this is the case for many others. And I think this is a major research gap, how fatherhood was impacted by the mass migration to the Gulf, from the emotional perspective, from how fatherhood in the emotional realm developed. And then while discussing fatherhood with my interlocutors, it was very clear to me how they look at fatherhood as an emotionally heavy experience, one that is loaded with complex emotions. They, contrary to my even my expectations, again having internalized many stereotypes about men and fathers, it was qahr, for instance, which is like they experience soul-crushing anguish over not being able to be the perfect fathers they want to be, especially in such economic conditions. They care, but the kind of care they provide is as precarious as the kind of economy and jobs they have. And they're involuntarily becoming more absent from their kids' lives in order to be able to provide, while they want to engage more in their kids' everyday activities. And they, most of them were very sad that they're missing a lot of their kids' life, and this is leading them to be forced to have like some sort of a a praxis, which is the mother, in order to be able to deal with their kids. Most of them struggled with mental health, even if they expressed it in terms of I don't even get to go to the ahwa to vent with my friends. The ahwa is like the local cafe, and I think there are a lot of areas when it comes to masculinity, is not just fatherhood, at the moment with the explosion of everything, the social media and everything that happened around and during the Me Too movement as well. And even fathers, they mentioned that they would be scared reading the posts of girls, and then they would be angry reading the posts of girls. So something is really changing about fathers and how they perceive themselves. And I think this is an area that needs to be studied, but with not from the fathers are violent and patriarchal, because some of them are, even most of them are, but let's just try to figure out what's behind this and give the voice to those in the margin who are trying their best. I'll end with a quote from one of the dear fathers that I interviewed. I always had a soft heart, but it grew even softer after becoming a father. Fatherhood was really a transformational, even if overwhelming, and sometimes made them feel stuck experience. Thank you all. I hope I did not take more than my time. And I would like to thank the committee for choosing. I'm really honored, and I was a bit surprised, to be honest. And I'd like to thank my professor, Dr. Amal Hamada, who was more than encouraging for me to face my fears, and my kid, who was of great support during all the writing and the agony. Thank you all.
Thank you, Sarah, for this wonderful presentation, and congratulations again for the Lina bin Mhenni Award. And now we will move to a special mention, which is very important to know that many films are very interesting, and the people participated with a lot of love to this competition. And we have this special mention to the film called Red Dust for Rasha Jamal from Birzeit University. Please clap. Thank you, Rasha Jamal, for this wonderful work. Actually, the audiovisual production needs all the time this kind of encouragement, and we encourage you to product more and more films. The film team is Jamal, Rasha, script and director, Muhyiddin Shami, Mohammed Ulasi, Bakr Filfil, Rand Kaidi. Congratulations again, and I invite now Dr. Kenza Omlil to present the project and to congratulate the team also.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So congratulations to the team. We had the winner for the Best BA Film Project, and that was the film Jafra, but we also wanted to include a special mention for this other film, which is called Red Dust by Birzeit, produced within the context of Birzeit University. And we wanted, as a team, we had this reflection to also acknowledge the conditions under which any film or media production is made, that it's also context bound and it's contextual, and it's not easy or not as easy to make media to do media in different contexts, and especially in war-torn contexts. So this film, Red Dust, is a symbolic film set in space, embodying how the voice and echo of Gaza is able to transcend the siege and reach Mars, in reference to the spiritual and militant strength of the Palestinian people. It is a film made in Arabic with English subtitles. And as a committee, we wanted to have a special mention for this film because it was clearly an important and timely topic. It included great symbolism, and it had great clarity for the overall message and the overall artistic touch of this film. The project's main idea and the content of the film are very important, and they were told in a compelling and interesting way. And so congratulations again to this team for this creative endeavor. And I believe that we will have now a few minutes dedicated to a speech by the filmmaker Rasha Jamal. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
And
you.
you. Working on the Red Dust was not easy because I live in Palestine. I faced many problems while filming. I had to move through military checkpoints all the time. Our filming equipment was taken from us many times, sorry. And my team and I were attacked by the Israeli occupation during of the shooting. We chose this idea because we wanted to show Gaza in a new, different way. I joined the astronomy club by accident without any plan. And from there, the idea of the film started. I worked on the film for 1 year ago and a half with my great team, محي الدين شامي, محمد كلغاصي, Rand Qadi, and Bakr Filfil. This was my first film outside the university. Inside the university, our work, it's usually simply, but this film was made with a full effort, full heart, and full-time work. 2 weeks ago, we showed the film first for the first time at Abirzeit University, my university and my team. It was a special moment for all of us, and it was an honor of to my be part to the Lina bin Mhenni Award, because it was the first time our film recovered such an important moments. My doctor Saleh Masharqa told me about the award, and 2 weeks ago at my film screening, I was surprising that our film, The Red Dust, would get a special moment, special mention. Sorry, that why I really wanted to thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rasha, and congratulations again for this special mention. Congratulations to all the winners and their supervisors also. Your work stands as a wonderful and powerful contribution to gender studies, media research, and social justice across the region, and thank you very much for this efforts. Now we will move to the wonderful part of the ceremony, which is the film screening, and the first one that we will watch it is Jafra, award-winning film, 14 minutes, and then we will move to watch Red Dust as a special mention for 7 minutes. Then we will have discussions with the students here and everyone invited to contribute to the discussion. Now we will go to watch the film. And thank you for everyone who tried to participate via the contribution, via the research, via the films and via anything that you enjoy to give to us as a team. And as we conclude this ceremony, I think we extend our deepest thanks to our students here at IPSI and our guests from the Lina bin Mhenni Association, of course, to Arieker and Freie Universität of Berlin, to IPSI at the University of Manouba, all presenters, juries members, organizers, and participants, and of course, all students and young researchers who submitted their exceptional work this year for the 2025 edition of Lina bin Mhenni Award. Thank you all for joining us today in honoring knowledge, creativity, and justice. We look forward to seeing you again in future editions.